So this is a guide to CBD for neuropathy. And I'll introduce myself to you. My name is Sonya Wells, and I'm a pharmacist. And I've been on the board of WNA for a little bit now. And so we're just trying to reach out to our members through webinars and through support groups to try and keep our support alive and help everybody to kind of just stay in touch. So this is our monthly webinar for November of 2021, and it is upon request a guide on CBD. So with no further ado, I shall start. Okay, is everybody ready? Lindsay, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. CBD seems to be in everything these days. Oils, lotions, drinks, gummies, sprays, supplements, even puppy tinctures and mascara. Why? Well, CBD enthusiasts report pain relief, less anxiety, greater relaxation, better sleep, reduced inflammation, and so much more. It sounds promising, but is it? While preliminary research is indeed promising, there is yet to be conclusive evidence about the safety and effectiveness of CBD, with more research needed and is in the works. In the meantime, anecdotal evidence claimed by users are spurring a frenzy of products being introduced on the market, and with little established regulation or education about the products being touted as miracle cures, consumers are left confused at best or ingesting dangerous substances at worst. Here's an extensive guide you'll need when considering using CBD for neuropathy. First of all, get familiar with cannabis. Cannabis is the plant also known as marijuana and hemp. It's a common misconception that marijuana and hemp are two different species of plants, but in fact, they're not distinct species at all. They're just two different cannabis plants in the same Cannabinaceae family. The plants are given the terms to differentiate the content of tetrahydrocannabinol, otherwise known as THC. THC is one of over 100 cannabinoids or natural chemicals found in the cannabis plant. It's the one that's primarily responsible for the psychoactive high associated with cannabis. While some cannabis is bred for its high THC psychoactive potential and known as marijuana plants, other cannabis is bred for low THC content and known as hemp plants. Legally, marijuana refers to cannabis that has more than 0.3% THC. Hemp refers to cannabis that has less than 0.3% THC. Because the THC level in hemp is so low, it's unlikely to cause a high. Cannabinol, otherwise known as CBD, is another cannabinoid, but has no psychoactive properties and is gaining attention for its potential health benefits. These qualities make CBD an appealing option for those who are looking for relief from symptoms and complaints without the mind-altering effects of THC found in marijuana or certain pharmaceutical drugs. While marijuana is not federally legal, leaving legalization to individual states with the passing of the U.S. Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018, also known as the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp agriculture and products became federally legal in all 50 states. Broad legalization has prompted the rapid acceleration of hemp-derived CBD products. Next, know the warnings for using CBD. A research review from the Mayo Clinic, one of the country's leading medical centers, warns there's still a lot to learn about CBD. The big takeaway from the review is that no one knows exactly how effective or safe CBD really is. The researchers argue that more research on humans is needed to confirm many of the health claims made on the packaging of products containing CBD. I think it's really too early to just try anything that you get at any gas station. One of the concerns is that there may be other unrecognized substances in CBD products. No rigorous safety studies have been done on full spectrum CBD oils, which contain a variety of compounds found in the hemp plant and not just CBD. Because CBD is not controlled, basically it's anybody's guess what can be in these. So they can claim that it's 30% cannabinol and otherwise pure, but if it's not independently tested, it may have other pesticides, toxins, and heavy metals. It's hard to know exactly what you're getting. A 2017 review of 84 CBD products published in the highly regarded medical journal, JAMA, found that only a third of the products accurately labeled CBD and the THC levels. Most overlabeled CBD and underlabeled THC. In addition to THC and unrecognized cannabis substances, consumers also need to be concerned about whether CBD products have contaminants. That's because cannabis plants readily absorb heavy metals, pesticides, and other potentially harmful chemicals that may be in the soil or water. To protect against that risk, cannabis plants should be tested frequently while they are growing, and finished products should be tested as well. Next, look for independent test results. With the current non-regulated state of cannabis, manufacturers can slap labels on their products and sell them under any pretenses. The last thing you want to do is spend money on a CBD product that doesn't contain any CBD or that is full of dangerous substances. This is where independent third-party lab testing is helping consumers find their way through the muddy waters. Reputable brands are dictating considerable funds to testing their products with independent labs for a neutral examination of cannabis products. Know what you are buying and ingesting. Stick with transparent brands who do independent testing and provide the results openly to consumers. These results usually can be found on brand websites. Results can be a little confusing, so here is a quick list of what to look for. THC content. You'll want to ensure the product contains less than 0.3% THC, which is the amount that's legal for hemp and cannabis-derived CBD products in the United States. Anything more might not only be illegal in your state, but may also affect a drug test and impair cognition. Contaminants. Watch for contamination of products that are both dangerous and may counter your desired results. Contaminants include things like chemical residues such as pesticides and fungicides, residual solvents. These are used in manufacturing, including benzene, methanol, and ethanol. Microbials like bacterial, fungus, and mold. Mycotoxins, including aflatoxin and ochratoxin, which are just as dangerous as mold and bacteria. Heavy metals, such as arsenic, lead, and mercury. And foreign materials, including soil, ash, dust, and fecal matter. If a manufacturer doesn't have the information or refuses to share it, avoid the product and the brand. So with that in mind of talking about independent testing, I went through and I started to do some research, and I found the 8 best brands of CBD in a review from 2021. So this is what this review stated and what it came up with. It seems like hemp is everywhere. You're not wrong. Derived from the hemp plant, has been touted to possess a host of health and beauty boosting benefits, from reducing stress and anxiety to promoting better sleep to relieving pain and inflammation and skincare. And while it's an essential component of hemp, CBD doesn't deliver a high like THC, hemp's primary active component, which does. But with so many products out there, finding the right ones can be difficult. Some contain low quality, less effective forms of hemp oil. Others contain small amounts of THC. And there are brands that remain murky on their manufacturing and testing processes. The trick is selecting high quality products with hemp oil and little or no THC that are also tested for purity and shown to be free of solvents, pesticides, and herbicides. Fortunately, a group of researchers and testers has already done that work for you. A group of researchers and testers tried over 100 products from popular brands to find the best oils, gummies, topicals, and other products on the market. They carefully examined claims and manufacturing practices and considered quality, price, value, and transparency on data and testing results. These 8 best brands stood out: Med Ames, Charlotte's Web, Green Roads, Royal, Organics, Pure Cana, CB Distillery, and New Leaf Naturals. So listing these things out, I will remind you that I will put out on a link that Lindsay will help me do to everyone who joined the webinar, the PowerPoint and the slides for the PowerPoint that will have all these names on them for you, okay? So next thing that you want to consider is to buy organic. Much like organic fruits and vegetables you would purchase at your local grocery store, CBD products that are certified organic are held to a higher standard than non-organic products. This goes beyond growing cannabis without pesticides or keeping it separate from non-organic cannabis during harvesting. Instead, to earn this organic label, the hemp must be grown under very specific conditions, as outlined by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Due to scrutiny required to earn organic labeling, these brands are generally considered more dedicated to producing uncontaminated, efficacious products. Next, know what to expect from CBD use. When taking CBD for neuropathy, understanding what to expect can be helpful for evaluating the effectiveness of a product. A 2019 Consumer Report survey found that of the 1,018 people who had tried CBD in the previous 24 months, more than 3/4 said that the compound was at least moderately effective for their purposes. So what does CBD do for neuropathy? Recent studies have returned promising results regarding CBD for neuropathy as an effective therapeutic option for neuropathic symptoms. This is echoed in the testimony of users with chronic neuropathic pain who have chronicled a higher quality of life since consuming CBD. Studies regarding CBD for neuropathy are forthcoming, but current speculation and initial studies indicate that CBD may be a promising start in the fight against neuropathic pain and other symptoms, such as muscle spasms and twitching. The argument used is that the human endocannabinoid system is involved in basic functions, including the immune response and pain management. Because CBD functions as an indirect antagonist to human CB1 and CB2 receptors, it is reasoned that the presence of CBD prevents them from being overly activated, thereby protecting the nervous and immune systems. Collectively, there are a few key mechanisms for which CBD are being speculated to improve symptoms. Of course, these improvements can only be expected with routine use and proper dosing. First is inflammation reduction. The underlying common factor in all cases of neuropathy and most diseases is chronic inflammation of the immune system. Not only does this state of the immune system block the body's ability to heal, but also perpetuates damage further. As neurons continue to degrade, symptoms worsen. Emerging at the forefront of CBD benefits is its ability to reduce chronic inflammation by way of immunoregulation through the endocannabinoid system. Pain relief. Studies have shown that plant-derived cannabinoids may help reduce chronic pain by impacting endocannabinoid receptor activity, reducing inflammation and interacting with neurotransmitters to reduce pain. Use of CBD for neuropathy pain is being introduced to patients when first-line treatments provide lack of desired results. Diabetes prevention. With 66% of diabetics developing peripheral neuropathy, preventing or reversing diabetes is one of the most effective strategies for preventing or reversing peripheral neuropathy. In diabetic mice, one study showed treatment with CBD reduced the incidence of diabetes by 56% and significantly reduced inflammation. Nerve protection. CBD has demonstrated neuroprotective properties in vitro. Thus, it is being investigated as a potential treatment for neurodegenerative diseases. Furthermore, CBD is known as a reasonably potent antioxidant, which further helps to protect the nervous system from oxidative damage. Now, know the potential side effects of CBD. Though often well tolerated, CBD can cause negative side effects and risks. Because CBD supplements come in so many different forms, such as oils, tinctures, edibles, and vapors, the amount that's actually absorbed can vary drastically. This, combined with varying chemistry of each person, will ultimately affect which, if any, side effects are experienced. Medication interaction risks. A 2020 review found that CBD and THC can intensify the effects of certain blood thinners and increase blood levels of some cholesterol-lowering statin drugs, antihistamines, and antidepressants. If taking any of these prescriptions, talk to your doctor before starting CBD. Potential side effects. The same review found the following to be the main side effects reported and were generally mild to moderate: drowsiness, nausea, vomiting, dry mouth, dizziness, and changing alertness. Next, get the dose right. Since CBD products currently fall outside the FDA regulations, there are no official guidelines established for their dosing, yet dosing is often what makes or breaks the effectiveness of CBD. With any supplement or medication, the appropriate dosage is one that provides a therapeutic effect and is well tolerated. Same goes for CBD use. In clinical studies, researchers have used various oral dosages of CBD, with averages ranging from 100 to 800 milligrams per day, according to a review by the World Health Organization. Experts in this area agree that lower doses can be more effective than higher dosages. Dosing CBD falls into an old adage: too much of a good thing is no longer a good thing. So what you want to do is start low and go slow. The main thing to consider when deciding the right strength of CBD is to realize that each person's biochemistry is different. It's important to start with the smallest possible dose and work up from there. Oh, sorry, I lost my place. Just a second. Okay, the main thing to consider when deciding the right strength of CBD is to realize that each person's biochemistry is different. It's important to start with the smallest possible dose and work up from there. Starting with a product that has just 10 milligrams per dose is generally a good baseline. If you take a dose of 10 milligrams of CBD and you don't feel anything at all, you can continue to take it for a few days or even a week or so and see if there is some type of cumulative effect. If you still don't feel anything, then it's time to consider moving up to a slightly higher dose. 99% of the time when CBD doesn't work, most people haven't moved up to a high enough dose. So the first type of potency that we have for CBD is 300 milligrams. Many people use a 300 milligram oil for things like mild to moderate anxiety or minor aches and pains. A single serving from a 300 milligram 30 ml or 1 ounce bottle is equivalent to 15 drops of oil, which translates to a 7.5 milligram dose of CBD. However, plenty of people won't even use a full dose, as they're able to achieve relief with as little as 5 to 7 drops of oil, or about a 3.5 milligram dose. The next potency up is medium potency, which is 600 milligrams. The 600 milligram oil is a good step up option for people who find that they're having to take larger or multiple dosages of the 300 milligram oil in order to get effective results. In general, a lot of people use this strength for more moderate cases of anxiety, pain, inflammation, and digestive issues. A single dose is still the same 15 drops of oil, but instead of containing 7.5 milligrams of CBD, a 600 milligram bottle will contain 15 milligrams per dose. The next potency is high potency, or 1,000 milligram. The 1,000 plus milligram CBD oil is considered an extra strength option. People have used it successfully to treat insomnia, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, chronic pain, and it's used to wean off drug or alcohol addiction. It is not recommended for first-time users to start with this strength of oil or tincture. Just like the 300 and 600 milligram products, it comes in a 30 milliliter or 1 ounce bottle. But a single 15 drop serving equates to a heavy 24 milligram dose of CBD. Unless your condition is fairly severe, you likely won't ever need this high strength oil or tincture. You want to select products with defined concentrations. Due to popularity and demand, manufacturers are taking advantage of the buzz by formulating CBD into just about every product imaginable. Steer clear. Stick with products with well-defined concentrations. When dosing for symptoms of peripheral neuropathy, topicals, oils, and tinctures are considered more reliable and consistent over all other forms. Look for topicals, oils, and tinctures that show how much CBD is in each dose, not just the whole product. Understand your potency labeling. When selecting a CBD product, understanding the labeling will go a long way towards getting your personal dosing right. First, you'll want to take note of the total amount of CBD in the product as indicated on the labeling. Here, size matters. The larger the package of the same total amount of CBD, the weaker the concentration. For example, a 300 milligram bottle of oil or tincture in a 30 milliliter or 1 ounce size will be more concentrated than a 300 milligram oil or tincture in a 60 milliliter or 2 ounce size. Next, you'll want to look at the dosage concentration. For example, a bottled oil or tincture should include the amount of CBD concentrated in 1 dropper full. Learn your terms. When shopping, you'll see the following terms on CBD product labels. Here's what they mean and what to look for. Cannabis is a plant that contains dozens of compounds called cannabinoids. It may be bred for higher concentrations of certain cannabinoids like THC or CBD. Not all cannabis is bred to have psychoactive properties. Cannabinoids are naturally occurring plant compounds. The most popular cannabinoids are cannabinol or CBD and tetrahydrocannabinol, which is THC. CBD is a popular cannabinoid touted for its health benefits. It produces no psychoactive effects and is federally legal. THC is the most well-known cannabinoid responsible for psychoactive effects of marijuana. Full spectrum means containing all of the plant's cannabinoids, including THC. Under 0.3% is considered to be federally legal. Full spectrum is derived from hemp, not marijuana. Broad spectrum means containing most cannabinoids, but THC has been extracted. It is derived from hemp, not marijuana. CBD isolate is THC-free, a purified cannabinoid extract that contains just CBD. It may be less effective than broad spectrum or full spectrum without an array of compounds that work synergistically together. If full spectrum or broad spectrum feels too powerful, an isolate may be better tolerated for you. Next, know your options. CBD has found its way into an unimaginable array of products, from tinctures and rubs to cosmetics and cocktails and everything in between. Here's what you need to know for making the safest and most effective choices. Tinctures. Tinctures may be taken by dropper straight into your mouth. The CBD used in this form is, oh, sorry, I lost my place again. The CBD used in this form is extracted from cannabis plants, then diluted with an oil such as hemp, MTC, coconut, or olive oil, or alcohol to improve the taste and absorbability and preserve the cannabinol. Tinctures are the second quickest method to absorb CBD after smoking, but smoking produces toxic chemicals which defeat the overall anti-inflammatory health benefits. Typically, absorption takes about 15 to 30 minutes. The quick action could make it especially useful in treating pain or anxiety. However, the taste of oil-based tinctures may be adverse to some. As a useful tip, drop a dose under your tongue and hold it there for 30 seconds before swallowing, or apply a single spray of tincture on the inside of your cheek. Doing so speeds up the effects of the CBD. Topical rubs. Topicals are rubbed directly onto areas of discomfort where they may ease pain and other symptoms by reducing inflammation. CBD rubs typically include extracts mixed into a fat such as beeswax or coconut oil. That recipe not only makes it easier to spread the product on your skin, but also allows the CBD to penetrate. Topicals aren't absorbed into the entire body as other forms can be. That could make them safer, which could be important if you use CBD on a regular basis. Considering how little is known about the long-term safety of CBD and other cannabis products. However, to be effective, products probably need to have a lot of CBD, which can make them expensive. As a useful tip, in online stores, sample sizes are available. In retail stores, ask whether you can sample the product first. Some people start feeling effects almost immediately after rubbing it on. Others say they notice relief later in the day and return to buy the products later. If buying online, make sure the brand offers a reasonable return policy. Edibles. CBD-infused foods such as gummies, cookies, and coffee are gaining in popularity due to their ease of use. However, the absorbability and therefore effectiveness can be a trade-off that you'll need to consider. In some states, finding CBD-infused food and drinks at a retailer, restaurant, or cafe can be fairly easy. Edibles might seem like a fun way to take CBD, but it's a particularly inefficient method. That's because eating or drinking your CBD means it will enter your bloodstream through the digestive system. Plus, the food it's in, as well as other foods you consume, could affect how the body absorbs it and undermine its potential effect. Health of your gut can also affect absorption. As a useful tip, you can also consume CBD in pill form. One benefit of a pill over an edible is that dosage should be clear, and for chronic conditions like peripheral neuropathy, where you might be trying to maintain a consistent CBD level, pills are an easier ingestible solution than a food edible. In conclusion, though more research is needed on both the effectiveness and safety of CBD use, early reports are showing CBD to be a potentially viable therapy for use in calming the symptoms of peripheral nerve damage and shifting the immune system out of the damaging chronic inflammation and towards healing. Dosing is a key component to a successful CBD use. Therefore, the selection of proper concentrations is needed, with daily dosages starting low and slowly increasing until the desired results. Being an informed shopper and user will help to mitigate the potential risks associated with CBD, such as contaminants and interactions with medications. CBD in the form of oils or tinctures and topicals are most recommended for the use of symptoms related to peripheral neuropathy due to their absorbability and ease of dosage control. Recognized for its anti-inflammatory actions, impact on chronic pain, nerve protection, and potential for diabetes prevention makes CBD for neuropathy a promising alternative. Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Okay, so if anybody has any questions that hasn't done so, go ahead and either pop those in the Q&A box or the chat box. All right, so first I have a question from Shirley. She wants to know if you could please repeat the 8 best brands.
Oh, sure. Okay. No problem. Let me get there. Okay. Med Aims, it's capital MED, capital AIMS is the first one. The second one is Charlotte's Web, like the book. The third one is Green Roads. The fourth one is Royal, as in Your Highness. And the fifth one is called Kurganics, capital CURGANICS. And then the next one is Pure Cana, capital PURE, capital KANA. And the next one is CB Distillery. It's capital C, capital B, capital D. And then that D in CBD, it goes on to spell distillery. So it's CBD ISTILLERY. And then the last one is called New Leaf, capital NU, capital LEAF, Naturals.
Okay, great. Let's see. Carol has a question. She says, is the topical oil also meant to be taken internally or just to put on the skin? Is tincture what to use internally?
Oh, so there's oral oils and tinctures. So you can there's oils that can be rubbed on the skin, but there's actually oils and tinctures that are oral. So if you were to go in and get like the ones that I was talking about that were the 300 and 600 and 1000 strengths, those are the oral oils and tinctures, and those are the ones that are dosed by the dropperful, and those are taken orally. And like I said, either most helpfully taken like under the tongue and held for like 30 seconds and then swallowed. And then there are also, I know it's confusing, but there are oils and liniments that are topicals too. Does that help?
Let's see.
Hopefully.
We'll have her chime in if that wasn't clear. Okay.
Okay.
And I had another person ask, or just state that they would like more information on the cannabinoid receptors that you went over.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
This person just wanted more information on the cannabinoid receptors, if you could add any more info on that.
Okay, so there are cannabinoid receptors in our body. There's a part of our body which is basically our pain system, and it's considered an endocannabinoid system, and the receptors are CB1 and CB2, and one of the ways that they think that, when they're scientifically trying to establish, why does THC, why does cannabis, why does CBD actually help our bodies to not feel pain? And the idea is that it actually binds with these receptors, the CBD, the CB1 and CB2, and it keeps them from being overactive. And that's one of the things that's going on. Like if people have an autoimmune disease, a lot of these systems in our body are overactive. Okay, so one of the ways that they believe that the cannabis plant and the different cannabinoids work in our system is by binding with the CB1 and CB2 receptors and help keep that system from being overly active. Hopefully that helps.
The same person that had that question has a follow-up.
Okay.
Can they be faulty? For example, edibles are ineffective for me, etc. So is one a method, can that be faulty for one person to say do an edible versus a tincture?
So more than likely, if they're being ineffective for you, then it's probably not a strong enough dose for you. I gave this talk at the Auburn support group, and we sort of had a little after presentation discussion, and I was sharing that although, in my presentation I say start slow and move up, for myself with my neuropathy, the higher dose has been what has been necessary to actually get the desired effects. So I think it may depend on the severity of your condition, the other conditions you have going on in your body. If a lower dosing like the 300 milligram dosing or edibles can be effective for you, or if you'll need the extra strength dosing. There's a lot of factors that go into it, including your own personal chemistry.
And should they consult with their physician too to know if there's any possible interactions between current medications and any method of taking a CBD supplement?
Mostly at this point, they believe it's potentially could interact with the statin drugs, the cholesterol medication, blood thinners, and antidepressants are the most likely groups of medication that it may interact with.
And do you know if that's interaction in terms of it having adverse side effects or decreasing the efficacy of those drugs?
Usually when there are drug interactions, what ends up happening is that because those two medications are together in the system, usually the metabolism is delayed, and the blood concentration of those medications goes up, and then you start to have side effects of having too high of a higher concentration of that medication in your system than you would have had without the CBD being present. So in the case of statins, the potential for the side effects of statins, such as liver problems and muscle pain, and for blood thinners, the problem would be with the blood concentration being too high, it would be, potential for bleeding.
Okay. All right, I've got a couple more questions from Carol. She asked for help with sleep. How long before bedtime should the under the tongue tincture or oil be taken?
About 30 minutes. It isn't something that works right away, but it sort of has a it's a sedating effect. So it's more of an act of, instead of instantly just knocking you out, but just sort of relaxing you to get your body in a place to be able to relax enough to actually go to sleep, as opposed to having your mind racing about things.
Okay. And she also asked for anxiety, should you take it after noticing the anxiety or in the morning as a prevention?
It should be used in order for it to be actually as efficacious as possible. It's actually recommended to be used on a daily basis. The CBD does actually work better if you use it on a daily basis, as opposed to just as needed, because it does seem to have a cumulative effect in your body that makes it much more effective if it's used on a regular basis.
Gotcha. Let's see. For overall health and reduction of inflammation, what is a recommended frequency? If you start slow and notice reduction in anxiety, will inflammation also be lessened? Is there any way to tell?
Okay, one more time.
Sure, this is a multi-part question here. For overall health and reduction of inflammation, what is the recommended frequency?
It's still the daily. Yeah, because it doesn't really tend to work right away. It does tend to, make positive changes in your system over a period of time, to help, to keep further having those positive effects of reducing anxiety and reducing inflammation, and having an oxidative effect.
Okay. Alrighty, let's see if I've gotten any more. Bill wants to know, does CBD affect pregabalin or does it cause problems?
pregabalin?
Mhm.
No, not that we know of.
Okay.
But as just sort of a little tip, if you ever want to question whether something that you're taking is can have an interaction with anything, there's a place called drugs.com, and that's an excellent source for finding out drug interactions or drug food interactions or anything. It's an excellent source for finding out that information.
And what was the website again?
Drugs.com.
Just drugs.com. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Sonya? Let's see. Is there any way to test or tell if inflammation has been reduced?
There are a few lab tests that can be done. Like they can test your IgA levels. And that's kind of that's one way that that allergy and immunology specialists can help figure out, where if you have overall inflammation, if that's being effective. So that is one way of testing the inflammation. But unfortunately, the other way is just basically like kind of how you feel from day to day. If you're, if you feel like, are you doing more, being able to do more than you were a month ago, or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I think that's all the questions that we have so far, unless there's anybody with any last minute questions. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Sonya, to wrap it up?
So what I did after the Auburn support group was that, I often do this with my speeches is I offer to share my notes afterwards, because a lot of these words I get little tongue twisted with, and so it might be hard to understand, and there's also a lot of information on it, and so I offer to have my notes be available so that people can kind of look them over and with it in their own time to figure things out. Like a lot of time, I know that like reading through that section where they're with the different strengths of CBD and making sense of 300 milligrams, 30 ml, 1 ounce, so much per dropper, and all that. It's kind of confusing to just hear it for the first time and understand it, and reading the notes over, in your own time and space can kind of help make that make sense. So I can offer the notes out too, as well as the slides that I so artfully put together for this presentation.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can, once we have the recording ready, I think we can probably put that all together in an email out to all of you who attended live.
Okay.
And have that available to anybody that wants to watch in the future as well. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any other questions or anything, so that should be it for today. As always, we thank everybody for joining us. And then we will let you know, of course, the next time we have another webinar available. And thank you so much, Sonya, for your information and for joining us. And all of...
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so sorry about the delayed start and the not having the slides with it, but thank you everyone who joined today, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and for you to have continue to stay safe and healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
And thank you also, Lindsay, for everything you do.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you all next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.